If I were to ask you the question, who was the richest person ever? What would your answer be? Would it be a business freak such as Jeff Bezos, or maybe someone slightly different in the form of Pablo Escobar? Either type of answer you give, unfortunately, you'd be wrong. The richest person ever lived around 700 years ago, and he was best known as Mansa Musa. Does the image help you recognise him at all? I mean, probably not. That's literally an AI generated image. We don't really know what he looked like for certainty. His worth in today's climate would be around $400 billion. It's enough to make flipping Elon Musk cry in his brand new Cybertruck. You may not recognise the name Mansa Musa because Africa is almost forgotten in medieval history due to something that's called Eurocentrism. Essentially, the European Crusaders at the time would tell the stories that they wanted to be shown in history and just destroy any other stories or history or facts that went against whatever they wanted. It's kind of like when you're in school and playing Chinese whispers and there's that one stupid kid that would change the phrase on purpose so the message was different when it got to the end. God damn, I hate that kid. It's so annoying. Mansa Musa is the closest thing we have to a real-life Black Panther. Not because he's African, but because of who he was as a person and what he made the Mali Empire. And it turns out that after a quick Google search, he apparently is the inspiration behind the character. So therefore, it's not controversial that I said that.
One more word, and I will feed you to my children.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Mansa Musa led the Mali Empire from 1312 to 1337 after his predecessor, Mansa Abu Bakr II, was lost at sea during his exploration of the Atlantic Ocean. Oh, and also, before I continue, and I forget to mention, Mansa isn't actually part of his name. That's the title given to the kings or emperors of the Mali Empire. Just to clear that up for anyone who was wondering.
Woo! I love what you're doing. It's so cool.
The Mali Empire spread across West Africa, covering modern-day countries such as the Gambia, Senegal, Guinea, Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Mauritania, Burkina Faso, and this may be a big shock to you, but it also included Mali. The Mali Empire built its trade off salt mines in the north as well as gold deposits in the more southern regions. And because this was the 1300s and they weren't cock-blocked by all the woke people of today, they also sold elephant ivory as well as slaves, just for a bit of variety. I don't know why, I struggle to bloody maintain a good enough breath to be able to get through these sentences.
Oh no! Anyway, last week...
Mansa Musa would tax the caravans which would transport gold out of the mines.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Wait, caravans? Sure, that can't be right. Caravans in the... I know he's the real-life Black Panther, but surely I didn't think they would have automobiles in the 14th century. The gold miners were also made to pay tribute in order to, sort of mine the gold, which created an incredible cycle that sort of acted a bit like an infinite money glitch for the Mali Empire.
Give me your fucking money!
Miners had to pay tribute in order to mine the gold, and then traders would also have to pay tax in order to remove the gold from the mine. And then traders were also made to pay tax on just travelling in and out of the Mali Empire via the designated trade routes. Economically speaking, Mansa Musa was incredibly ahead of his time. Speaking of traders, a lot of the Mali Empire's wealth came from salt and the cola nut. I personally am more of a cola bottle fan, but I suppose they do nuts as well. Salt would, of course, be a great preservative for food, which is important for long-distance travel. Meanwhile, the cola nut contains a stimulant which suppresses thirst, which obviously is incredibly helpful when you're travelling an area with zero water. But as his wealth grew, Mansa Musa wanted to demonstrate his power and riches to the rest of the world, which he did so during his Hajj to Mecca. In fact, he did this so well that he completely destroyed the economy of an entire region by giving away so much gold. But before I say exactly how and where this happened, it's important to tell the story of the relationship between Mansa Musa and his Islamic faith. The Mali Empire was absolutely massive, and so its people had little sense of belonging.
Still here. Just to suffer.
And Mansa Musa wanted to connect his people. One of the possible ways he could have done this was through military control, which we've seen throughout history and even in the modern day. However, this is expensive, requires constant maintenance, and also can sort of affect the public perception of Mansa Musa himself. Essentially, it was not seen as a viable option. Instead, Mansa Musa made Islam the state religion. He hoped that people would convert to the Islamic faith. However, it didn't quite go as well as he planned. As a general rule of thumb, cities were predominantly Muslim, whereas the more rural regions were animistic, if that is even a word. I'm not too sure, but I'll put a little description of what I mean at the bottom, just so you know exactly where I'm coming from, what I'm trying to say. Unlike the political leaders we used to nowadays, Mansa Musa was incredibly aware that the success of his empire relied upon its inhabitants. So whilst elevating the importance of Islam, Mansa Musa never outlawed other faiths, often performed ceremonies of the Madinka, and even presided over courts of other faiths such as witchcraft trials. So now we've got all of that covered, we can go back to Mansa Musa's Hajj to Mecca, which began in 1324. The Mali Empire wasn't too well known outside of West Africa, and so he wanted to take this opportunity to expand the global reputation of the Mali Empire. He travelled 6,000 miles with 60,000 people, a fifth of which were slaves, but these slaves didn't have it so bad. I mean, they were coated in expensive silks and carried gold bars with them. Can I say they didn't have it so bad? I mean, they were slaves, so they probably had it pretty bad. Swings and roundabouts, I suppose. Musa travelled through Egypt, where he caused an awful amount of ruckus in Cairo. I mean, you can't really travel with 60,000 people without maybe one or two people noticing. And one of these people was in fact the Sultan of Egypt, Al-Nasir. I would just like to clarify that this is an individual called Al-Nasir and not the football team that Cristiano Ronaldo now plays for. I don't even think I pronounced his name there, I just said a bunch of consonants altogether. Cristiano Ronaldo. Anyway, not a football team, it's a person. Continue. Now, I've never seen a movement of 60,000 people before, and so I can only imagine that it may be just a tad threatening when they begin to march into your land. And because of this, it's reported that the first meeting between Al-Nasir and Mansa Musa was incredibly intense. Musa was there to demonstrate the power of the Mali Empire after all, so he can't just go in and bow instantly. Instead, after a few intense moments between the two, Musa entered the court and kissed the ground in honour of Allah, which won favour with Al-Nasir. And not only that, Musa also donated a large amount of gold to Al-Nasir's treasury, which obviously just wouldn't do any harm to their relationship. However, Musa gave away so much gold in Cairo that it completely dismantled the economy of the entirety of Egypt. I couldn't find a reliable source for a specific figure or amount of gold that was donated by Mansa Musa, so I can only imagine it was along the lines of a shit ton. In fairness, his mission to demonstrate the wealth of the Mali Empire was clearly an overwhelming success, so much so that it overwhelmed an entire nation. Mansa Musa had a rise and grind attitude, like those bodybuilders and those get rich quick gurus all have rise and grind mindsets. So did Mansa. Mansa Musa was clearly the originator of the rise and grind mindset. I'm going off on a tangent now and I need to rein it back, so we're gonna rewind and do that again. Mansa Musa was a rise and grind kind of guy. And so even whilst he was at Mecca, he took every opportunity to build the reputation and improve the Mali Empire. There were many prestigious Islamic figures who visited Mecca at the same time as Mansa Musa, one of these being a chap named Abu Ishaq, who was the architect responsible for building the world-renowned Djinjerba Mosque in Timbuktu. In fact, during his reign, Mansa Musa had built up Timbuktu to be a city of learning for people across the Islamic world. Timbuktu and other cities like Gao were cultural centres that attracted scholars and architects from across the Middle East. Musa greatly encouraged and developed the ability for his people to learn and develop skills in cities like this throughout his reign. Mansa Musa boosted the Mali Empire both internally through the learning centres and the growing wealth, and externally through the global reputation he built for his empire. However, all good things must come to an end, and for him it came in 1337 when his life ended, I suppose. It's no cute way to put that. He died. Sorry. The political stability, financial growth, and territorial expansion was slowly just dismantled after Mansa Musa's death, as the surrounding communities began to assert their independence. And unfortunately, the further away from Musa's death we go, the sparser the information around the Mali Empire becomes, as the following rulers would silence any storytellers or record keepers of their time. And it shows just how impressive a leader he was when he was alive, because he not only sustained the Mali Empire, but he grew it drastically over his reign. But after all this research and writing and talking about Mansa Musa, I am now getting the urge to go and watch all of the Black Panther films, all of the films he features in as well. So I'm going to go and do that, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, bye.